Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the haunted attraction entertainment industry. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And we are back. Happy New Year's Eve, everyone.
Yes.
We are literally kicking 2018 out the door in style with another episode of Haunt. Just right on the butt, smacking it out and sitting on its merry fucking way. Good riddance to you. Okay, that may be a little harsh.
Well, it's been a rough year.
It's been an interesting year, to put it that way.
Yeah.
But yes. So what we're doing for this week's episode is we've been getting a lot of questions and a lot of feedback.
Right.
In fact, we've gotten more messages, I would say, over the past 2 weeks than we've gotten the past year at Haunt Weekly on Facebook. And a lot of it's been about things to do, places to stay at for HauNtcon, which is coming up later this month.
Right.
We're going to answer as many of those questions as we can in this podcast and hopefully help people that didn't write us, maybe are just simply curious, maybe wondering what things to do. So this podcast, if you're coming to HauNtcon or thinking about coming to HauNtcon, this podcast is for you.
Yes. Now, with that being said, we have had people write us, and you will have to write us if you want that lights on tour of our garage haunt. We have a few people already talking about it. Yep. So that's good.
The main thing we're trying to get nailed down is the date.
Yep.
We would prefer to do it either the Thursday before or the Sunday after, I think it is.
Yeah, unless people are staying through Monday, because then we could do that.
We can work it with you guys.
Yeah.
We just need to know what date works best for the most number of people. So tell us which dates work.
Exactly.
Oh, anyways, but in case you didn't notice, this is Haunt Weekly. We're at HauntWeekly.com, Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook. tinyurl.com/HauntWeekly is our YouTube channel. Also available at iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, anywhere that finer podcasts are sold and distributed. But on that note, it is time to do our conference reminders. Let you know where you can get haunt information put into your brain that's not in podcast form. And it is an oddball episode. You are the oddball. Crystal, please do the honors.
Okay, well, we were just talking about this. January 25th through the 27th, it's HauntCon, Halloween, and Party Expo.
Really? I had no idea that was coming. Total blindside.
Yeah, haven't been talking about it at all.
Nope, not a bit.
So, it's going to be here in New Orleans at the Ernest Memorial Convention Center. It will be featuring Jonathan speaking and a lights on tour for our haunt for people who are interested.
And they're touring Terror on the Coast.
They are.
Which is in Biloxi, I believe.
Yeah, which is an interesting
It's a long drive. I'm not going to lie to you guys.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a haul.
It is. It's actually one I'd be interested in seeing.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of debating what we're going to do with that.
Yeah, because we've been to Terror on the Coast once several years ago, and it was an experience.
The experience was less than pleasant, but we communicated some with the owners.
Right.
And they actually agreed with our issues.
Yeah.
Which was one of the things that kind of made it a little bit satisfying.
Right.
And we haven't been able to, because it is a long haul, like we said.
Yeah.
We've not been able to make it back. Curious to see what's changed.
Yeah, we haven't been to Mississippi haunts in a while.
Yeah.
So, all right. But anyway, HauntCon.com for more info on that.
All right. After that, February 23rd and 24th, that's HauntX, the Haunters DIY Expo in Pomona, California at the Fairplex. They'll be touring Coffin Creek, both lights on and lights off. Also features a costume ball. HauntX.com for more details.
Okay. February 27th through March 2nd. It is the Maze Corn Party. It's going to be in Dallas, Texas and Oklahoma City. It's going to be Weston Dallas is where they start. They go to Fort Worth Airport Hotel.
That's the Weston Dallas Fort Worth Airport Hotel.
That's a really long name. That should not be spelled out.
There's one thing
Why is there a slash in their official name?
Because it's the Dallas/Fort Worth Airport.
Okay.
Blame the airport, not the hotel, for that one.
Yeah.
You lived in that area, didn't you? You should know better than anyone.
Well, okay, so Dallas does not claim Fort Worth. Fort Worth claims Dallas.
Fair enough. Okay, continue then.
touring various mazes around Dallas and Oklahoma City, including Yesterland Farm, Mainstay Farm, and more. And you can find out about it at themaze.com.
And finally, for right now, March 21st through the 24th in St. Louis, Missouri, it's Trans World's Halloween and Attraction Show at the America Center, co-located with Trans World's Christmas show, for reasons. No information yet on the bus tour. We'll be featuring a party at the City Museum on Thursday, a performance by the Vampire Circus on Friday, and a vampire ball on Saturday. The HA Show, HAASHOW.com for more information. All right. So on that note, we have a couple of housekeeping items to jump in. As I said in the intro, Happy New Year's Eve, everyone. We will be doing absolutely nothing for it.
No.
We can't for a variety of reasons. This house is cursed for New Year's, basically, is what I've learned.
Yeah.
So we'll be spending it with you through this podcast. Do hope yours is a great one. And count down and do awesome things for us.
Yeah.
And more important news, the big news everyone wants to know. We have new microphones.
Right.
So if we sound a little different, that's the reason why. We're using the same recording setup, most of the same equipment, but we've added new microphones to it. These are lavalier mics. Hopefully we're coming in a little more clearly. I've noticed when we did our test recordings, Crystal came in clearer. Didn't make a lot of difference for me. I guess I just have a more projecty voice, so having a mic further away wasn't a huge deal.
Right.
But Crystal was coming in much more clear, and hopefully this works. Well, but the main thing is, though, bear with us. We've only done a few short tests. I'm going to be editing this probably in about 45 minutes or so, and it's going to be a learning curve for me because this is going to change how we do the editing process a little bit. Bear with us as we nail this down. I do think these mics are going to improve the quality of the podcast in general, though.
Yes.
It just may take a week or two where the full benefits are reaped.
Yes, that is the hope.
That is
so. Merry Christmas to us.
We spent Amazon gift card money on these, and I expect results. God damn it!
Exactly.
Oh man, but yeah. So give us some time to nail down.
Okay.
Anyways, we've been getting a lot of questions about New Orleans and HauNTcon this year. There seems to be a lot of excitement, and this is great because HauNTcon was here last year, and I didn't get this vibe, this run up to it.
No, I think having it in the same city 2 years in a row has helped.
Yeah, and they seem to be putting a lot of effort into marketing and promoting it. Mm-hmm. They've attracted some new vendors this year.
Right.
They've done a lot of cool things with it. So I'm really excited to see how it goes. And maybe my 9 o'clock talk on Friday won't be that rough. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe people will be there. But long and short of it is we've been getting a lot of stuff. Now, we did a guide last year, episode 105. You can go back. It's almost literally 52 episodes ago.
Right.
Where we talked about staying safe in New Orleans, our thoughts on where HauNTcon was going, things like that. So there's, if you want like the safety dance version of this, you can go there. Yeah. But this year we want to do something a little bigger, a little better, since we've been getting so many good questions. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of doing a HauNTcon / New Orleans guide for those who are going or thinking of going, especially those who might be staying a little bit, coming a little early or leaving a little late.
Right.
So I wanted to start this by talking about where HauNTcon is located physically. And the HauNTcon locations is actually plural.
Right.
And the main reason is it's actually in a very interesting part of town in many ways. And I know a lot of people are going to be showing up without reliable access to cars other than Uber and whatever.
Right.
And so you may be tempted and maybe thinking about just staying on foot and staying within like a mile radius of where all that is. And so I wanted to start out focusing on that region and then branch out and talk about the rest of the city and what you can do.
Yeah.
Because you can almost get to the French Quarter, I think, within 1 mile. You might be able to get to the very edge of the French Quarter in that 1 mile from where it's being held and where the hotel is, but not much further. But there's a lot to do in that area.
There is.
So we'll start there. It's being held at the Ernest and Morial Convention Center here in New Orleans. It's the big convention center in the city. It's located right along the river on the East Bank side, main side of the city. And it's just upriver from Canal Street. So it's only a few blocks away from Canal Street, which kind of is the heart of the downtown. It's considered New Orleans Main Street.
Yeah.
In fact, I think they call it New Orleans Main Street. And it's also, coincidentally, and this is actually a true fact, the widest main street in the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
I can believe that.
And it's called Canal Street because this is also true. They were going to put a canal down the middle of it and then realized that was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And put actual useful public transit down the center of it instead.
Yeah. I wonder if they, like, had images of gondolas or
Venice
something.
and like,
Exactly.
People like, that was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
This is the first time New Orleans ever actually bailed on a stupid idea before implementing it, so I applauded.
Yeah, no kidding.
But anyways, so it's in a very, very good location for exploring the downtown area, especially the business district side.
Right.
Because, and here's the thing about it, the convention center is huge. It goes about 12 or 13 blocks.
Yeah, it's gigantic.
That's not an exaggeration when I say it's 12 or 13 blocks long. It really and truly is. And the HauNTcon will be at F through I, which puts it kind of to the way to the side, actually pretty far to the side, away from Canal Street. I think it goes up to like L. JK, something like that. It's to the center, but to the far side from Canal.
Yeah, I was thinking it was right at the center. Almost.
But I think it's just a little bit past it, especially with going toward I. Mm-hmm. So it's a pretty hefty walk to get to Canal Street from there. It's doable. I'm not saying you can't do it, but if you're not used to walking a fair amount, it might be a challenge, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Also, interesting trivia, this is the 5th largest facility of its kind in the United States.
That is interesting.
They put that prominently in the Wikipedia, which is where I got the fact, but also on the site for the convention center. So, something to know. But here's the thing. It's a convention center. Mm-hmm. You've seen one, you've seen all to some degree.
Yeah.
It's nice, it's adequate. HauNTcon is going to be taking up about a quarter of its capacity, quarter to a third-ish. And I checked, there will not be any other major events going on at the convention center at the same time.
So we won't have the gamers next door?
Last year, that was hilarious. There was some big gamer tournament. I'm not sure what the hell. I think it was Call of Duty or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Big, huge gamer tournament going on right next door.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird. And then you had the cheerleader convention or expo or some
on the
crap.
last day. Some kind of competition with
some dance team stuff or something.
Cheerleader.
It's really weird because you and I had to walk from the parking lot, and we're walking through all these high school cheerleaders. It's like, are we late?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Are we in the right spot?
I've never felt.
We've been saying the convention center forever, but is it really here?
Yeah. Anyway.
Granted, this is scary and creepy, but...
Yeah, but there will not be any major events. In fact, as far as the time of year to come, it's a pretty good time of year.
Yeah.
Because the weather's going to be as good as you're going to get in New Orleans, if we're going to be honest with you. But it will be carnival season. Now, to be fair, carnival season technically starts January 6th.
Correct.
That's when the first parades begin. But the parades will resume, the actual seasonal parades won't resume until the 9th.
Right.
So the core of carnival season begins after. Mm-hmm. So while carnival will not be active, it'll still be busy. It is the tour season simply because of the weather. Also when cruise ships come and go, things like that. Also, the Saints are in the playoffs. They are the number 1 seed in the NFC. So that means any playoff games will be home games. But there will not be, it actually falls in the week between when the NFC Championship will happen and the Super Bowl. So it falls Pro Bowl weekend, basically.
Yeah, so this is pretty spot-on timing for nothing major in the city.
Yeah, considering that this is a conference being held in January, this is as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Literally.
And I think they pulled this last year, too. They pulled it off.
They threaded the needle.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It's a convention center. Like I was saying, don't expect the world of it. Mm-hmm. The official conference hotel is the Spring Hill Suites by Marriott. I've never been there.
No.
I have a home in New Orleans. I have not been to many hotels in the city. It's about 2 blocks away from the convention center. It's a fine hotel. Reviews are good. But here's the thing. There are many hotels within walking distance in that area.
Yeah.
If you don't want to drive, if you don't want to deal with that, you want to walk to the convention center, there's literally, I think, 10 hotels.
Yeah.
And I only had time in the research to check out like 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
There are a lot. I mean, the Hyatt Place, Hampton Inn, Hilton Gardens, Residence Inn, that just names 5. There's the other Hilton. There's a third. Yes, there are 3 Hiltons, I believe. There's the Hilton Riverfront. There's
right.
You know what I mean? And then you got the one near Mardi Gras World I already forgot the name of. So you've got a ton of hotels, and some of the hotels are cheaper than the conference rate.
Right.
The conference hotel at the conference rate is $178 a night. That's not terrible, admittedly. But the Residence Inn is $155 a night, and the Hilton Gardens are $166 a night, both within easy walking distance. Mm-hmm. So if you want a hotel within walking distance, I would consider searching around a little bit and see what you find.
Yeah.
That'd be my personal advice. But yeah, we're going to talk more about hotels in a bit. So that there's more coming there. As far as parking,
yeah,
parking in that area is a mess. There is street and meter parking sprinkled throughout.
Yeah.
But good luck with that.
Yeah, and it's more of a mess this year because I sometimes come home by the convention center and have noticed that for at least a month they have been working on the big parking lot that's for the convention center.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's going to be finished by the end of January or not. Hopefully it will, because that's where we park and we don't have another plan.
Yeah. Well, we can think of another. There are other parking lots in the area.
There are.
We just may have to walk a little further.
Yeah. In fact, there's some attached to hotels right on at the end of it that we've used before.
Yeah, and then that's what I would keep an eye for is, look for hotel lots that are nearby that have a daily rate.
Right.
You probably can find one. Considering that no other major events are happening, you may be able to find one for like $10 or $20 a day.
Yeah.
Not horrible.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember how much the lot was. It wasn't much.
It was 10.
It was 10? Okay.
For the convention center parking.
It was only 10. Yeah, so that would be our ideal if that's available to us. Mm-hmm. That's what we're going to look for first. But the next bet is there are other lots for the convention center that are further away. And there are lots. And the lot we're talking about in the convention center it's right off Convention Center Boulevard in front of like section L or M, I think it is, or not, like K or so. It's in that area. Like I said, though, private paid lots nearby. Just do remember that this area shares its parking frustrations with the cruise ship terminal.
Yeah. And
if there's a cruise ship either arriving or preparing to depart, shit may get real, man. I can't make any promises.
Yeah.
And the thing is this, even locals don't really know the cruise ship schedule.
No.
They just kind of, oh, look, a cruise ship's in town every time.
Driving on the bridge.
Driving on the bridge, see the top of the Carnival peeking over us and the bridge at us. Oh, yeah, cruise ship's in town. Got it. Yep. All right, thanks for the heads up.
Cool, that one has water slides.
Yeah.
Like giant ones.
Yeah, the giant, huge water. I'm sorry, I still find the idea of a pool on a cruise ship. You're in a giant body of water, so you create a smaller body of water on top of the body of water.
Well, the giant body of water is harder to get to, so... But yes, it is interesting to think about.
Yeah. All right. So when it comes to food and drink in that area, there are limited choices in the convention center itself. They have a Starbucks. They have a couple of like quick grab place type things.
Yeah.
But it's really meager, and they may not all even be open. A lot of them only open if the conference center is X% full, and we may not meet that demand by ourselves.
Yeah, we did not last year.
No. And there was more stuff other than just HauNTcon last year.
Right.
Last year, we primarily used vending machines.
Yeah.
They have tons of credit card accepting vending machines around. Mm-hmm. The line for Starbucks was long, like the entire time we were there.
Yeah, so if you're able to get coffee on the way in,
advised.
Do that.
Yeah, and many of the other options were closed. Now, there is, I do know, a dining experience type thing at the far side of it. It's like a culinary museum / dining. I don't know all the details about it. I've heard about it, and that's about it. If we had Elizabeth on this podcast, she could tell us all about it, I'm sure.
I'm sure she could.
And then the whole hour would be filled with her telling us about it, because that's how enthusiastic she gets about Louisiana culinary history.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's there, but I don't think it's available to us, and it certainly isn't close. Now, here's the thing. That area, this uptown area, it's more central business district.
Yeah, it's actually the warehouse district.
And
because New
Orleans,
Orleans,
the warehouse district is further down upriver, but yeah. We need Elizabeth to tell us the exact borders for the name.
Yeah, because the thing is that if you say you're in the wrong part of town, you will hear about it.
From Elizabeth.
And other people. But,
she's like a genie. She will poof in and tell you that you're wrong.
Yeah. But I thought I was working in the Garden District, but apparently I'm not.
No, the Garden District, that border is over there, one street.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like 2 blocks off of it. And I'm like, it's the freaking Garden District. But it's okay.
But anyways, but it's weird because there's a lot of really fine dining options in that area. If you're into fine dining, you have Emerald's, Mulattes, tons of places over there that are really good. Like Emerald's big home restaurant is about 4 blocks away from the convention center.
Yeah.
Just to give you an idea. Next to the French Quarter, it's probably the highest concentration of fine dining in the city.
Yeah.
There are other places, obviously, sprinkled throughout the city, but this is a high concentration. There are cheaper options, too. There's Two Chicks Cafe, the Cochon Butcher, which is a place we went to last year with our friend Kyle.
Right.
That one the line was brutal, and it wasn't, like, super cheap.
Yeah,
but it was a reasonable lunch place. It was fast and a lunch place.
Yeah.
There's the Ugly Dog Saloon and Barbecue, Lucy's Retired Surfer Bar, which is one of our favorite places in the city.
But you will be sitting for a while.
Yeah,
so.
That's one if you've got time.
Yeah.
You know.
Same with the next one on the list, Arcadia.
Yeah, which is bar. And by the way, if you go to Lucy's Retired Surfer Bar, order a Shark Attack.
Yeah.
Just I'm not going to spoil it. Just do it.
Yeah.
You'll be grateful. And Barcadia, which I think Barcadia's exist in other cities.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's a small chain, but it's basically a place to eat, drink, and play video games.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a bit of a walk. That's probably the furthest out of any of the stuff we're talking about.
Yeah.
But it's still walkable.
Yeah.
You're kind of in a similar situation with drinks and like nightlife.
Yeah. Also, though, real quick on the food, we do have Grubhub and Uber Eats and things that will bring you food.
Yes. And I don't know how it's going to work with the convention center, but it may be something to consider.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, especially if you're trying to time it and get something really quick into you, that may be the best way to do it. Because even like the Cochon Butcher, which is only a block and a half away from the conference,
right,
is tough to do for a lunch break.
Yeah. If we go there again this year, we will be calling in our order ahead of time, looking up the menu online. Yeah,
agreed. But when it comes to your nightlife in that area, you've got a similar situation. There's lots of expensive drinks bars that we've never been to.
Yes, because they're spendy.
They're spendy. And then there's a few places we do know, or at least know of. One is the Howling Wolf. It has both the main venue and the Den, as it's called. The Den, you host smaller, more intimate things, whether it's a concert from a performer that doesn't have a huge audience in the city, or like they do poetry readings and things there too.
Yeah.
But their main venue on Sunday, it's every Sunday, but the Sunday including HAuNTcon, will host the Hot 8 Brass Band, one of the best known, best loved brass bands in the city. It's $15 a ticket if you're interested. Might be something interesting to check out. They also have free comedy shows on the 24th and the 29th. Mm-hmm. So those are nights if you might be in town, it might be free.
Right.
There's also the Rusty Nail, which is a really popular bar for Scotch and whiskey lovers.
Yeah, and I think we've been there once to see our friend perform, so they have live music occasionally.
Yes, we have been there. And this is very much the liquor part of town.
Yeah.
You're going to find cocktail bars, you're going to find fancy bars. I think Rasputin's not too far away. Yeah,
it's on St. Charles.
Yeah. So that's a rum, isn't it? Rum? No, that's the vodka.
I thought it was vodka bar.
It's a vodka bar.
It might be a rum bar.
I think it's vodka.
We haven't been. We just like the name.
I brain farted. It's a vodka joint, if I remember correctly. But here's the thing about these bars: they are going to have a decidedly hipster vibe, largely, and they will close.
Yeah.
You hear all the talk about how bars in New Orleans never close. That is definitely true in some parts of the city, like the French Quarter. But in this part of town, they definitely do close.
Yeah.
So, just warning that your night, especially if you go on a weeknight, like Wednesday, Thursday or something like that, may end at midnight to 1 a.m. Now, they do stay open typically later on the weekends, like 3, 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Then there's no official last call in the city, but bars in a business E-district tend to close even when there's no forced last call.
Right.
All right. So here's the thing about that area, and this was looking at like about a mile, 3/4 of a mile or so from where the convention's being held. There's a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah.
You can definitely fill your nights and fill your days there, your off days, very easily. Mm-hmm. I will say it will not be a true New Orleans experience, at least not to me.
No.
Other than Howling Wolf,
No.
I don't think there's much that's unique to New Orleans. There's a lot of stuff that's unique in New Orleans.
Right.
Like, Barcadia, that's only found in that area. Lucy's Retired Surfer Bar is unique to as far as the city goes.
Right.
But, yeah.
But it's not New Orleans.
No, it's not New Orleans, and it's not... And you can find comparable stuff in other cities.
Right.
Still, they're great stuff, and if you don't want to drive, don't want to Uber, don't want to Lyft, whatever, then you've still got a good time ahead of you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
So that does bring us to getting around. Round, I get around.
I guess.
This is really an Uber and Lyft town.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be completely honest. Taxis exist.
They do.
But...
Would not recommend.
Generally don't recommend. I mean, this is not a city that has a good taxi culture.
Right.
Never really had one.
Yeah.
At least not to my knowledge. Taxis typically have to be, radio hailed, meaning you have to call for them or order them online or through an app or whatever. So you might as well Uber and Lyft anyway. Mm-hmm. We've used Uber and Lyft with great success in the city.
Right.
The rates are great as long as there's nothing super special going on. Mm-hmm. No Saints game, no Mardi Gras shit.
Right.
None of that. You should be fine as far as the prices.
Yeah, there may be flex scheduling late night on the weekends, but that's just gonna happen in a party city.
Yeah, that's just true anywhere. There is public transit. And you're right to laugh. But here's the thing: there is a streetcar line at Canal Street at the river. So a few blocks away from there, there's a streetcar line that can get you a lot of good places in the city.
It can.
And it can do so fairly cheaply. Also, at that exact same place is the ferry terminal if you want to explore our side of the river and come to the West Bank.
Yeah, I would definitely suggest that because there's a little bar on this side called Crown and Anchor.
Yeah, that's our main hangout place.
Yeah.
And who knows, depending upon how the Lights on Tour goes, if everyone wants to hang out and chat, maybe we'll go there.
Oh, I'd planned on meeting at Crown and Anchor off of the ferry, grabbing a drink, and then going to the house.
Yeah. Oh, and this reminds me of something, by the way, that was not in the notes but needs to be mentioned. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. Open container policy.
Yes.
In Orleans Parish, I do not know about Jefferson Parish, but you're not likely to step foot into it, honestly, other than passing through. But in Orleans Parish, you are allowed to take alcoholic beverages out in public and walk around with them.
As long as they're not in a glass container.
Exactly. As long as they're in plastic or aluminum, you're A-OK by the law in this city. Yep. And the reason for no glass containers is we don't want your drunk ass dropping your drink and leaving shrapnel everywhere for other people to step on.
Exactly.
Now, and fair word of warning on this, they do aggressively ticket the glass container thing.
Yeah.
Then take your drink out in public, that's fine. And you'll notice, and this is something to keep in mind, is that most bars have Go Cups available.
Not only bars, but also restaurants. Yeah. So and that's something that takes a little extra effort to get your mind around, is that if you have a cocktail with dinner, you can get it in a Go Cup and take it with you wherever you're going next.
And walk to your next bar or event or whatever.
Yeah.
One tip to look for, especially in bars, is they will often have water coolers near the front door.
Right.
With plastic cups to get water. Stay hydrated, please. If you're going to drink, stay hydrated.
Yes, drink smart.
Drink smart. Don't drink like a dumbass. But B, those plastic cups are there intentionally for you to pour your beer, pour your cocktail into, and walk.
Yes.
After you've paid your tab, of course.
Yes,
so, yeah.
Of course.
But anyways, back to public transit. Sorry. There is a 5-day Jazzy Pass. It's $15. It will let you take the buses and streetcars. You can buy it online. They have the Go Mobile app, the RTA Go Mobile app.
Right.
Everyone says it works really, really well.
Yeah.
Never done much public transit in the city.
No. It is slow. That's one of the things about the public transit here.
No. It's slow because it's all buses or streetcars, and both of those are limited by the traffic around them.
Right. Well, and the streetcars stop at every light to let people on and off. So I think it took my brother 45 minutes to get from downtown to my work, which is normally about a 15-minute drive.
Yeah. And I actually looked up some other stuff. Getting from our house to the convention center would take just over an hour on public transit. And normally it only takes, 15 minutes to drive?
Yeah, 15 to 20, depending on traffic.
Yeah, and as long as the bridge is reasonably open, it's about 20 minutes. What should never take longer than 30.
No, it shouldn't. Sometimes it does.
If that's the case, then I'm just not doing HauNtcon. I'm sorry. If it's so jacked.
Yeah, we'll just take the ferry and walk down.
But yeah, if you're going to do public transit in New Orleans, I recommend using the Go Mobile app.
Right.
Just to save you a lot of time and effort.
Yeah.
But yeah, all in all, the public transit's kind of shit in this city. I'd focus on Uber and Lyft personally. It takes way too long to get anywhere via public transit. We don't have rail. We don't have any high-speed public transit whatsoever. We're a large enough city. We should, but we don't.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest gripes locals have, especially considering we have a very large percentage of our populace that doesn't have a car.
Yeah.
All right. One of the questions we've been getting a lot is, where the hell can we stay that it won't break the bank? Hotels in New Orleans are expensive. I admit that, especially in that area. If you are able to drive or comfortable using Uber and Lyft or whatever, consider looking at Airbnb. This makes me a huge New Orleans trader to even mention it.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to rail against Airbnb at every turn, and indeed I probably should, because it is not good for my city. But that being said, it's going to be one of your best bets.
It is. And be sure also to look at the point, because the point, if you are able to walk comfortably for over a mile, you can get from Algiers Point to the ferry to the convention center fairly easily. Yeah.
And word of advice, if you're taking the ferry, the Jazzy Pass and so forth doesn't cover. There is a pass that does in the app. You have to look that one up in the Go Mobile app. The site was confusing as hell, and I just gave up. But there is a pass that does it. But you can also just pay $2 cash, no change given, though.
Right.
So
yeah, don't give them a 20. They will keep it all.
Bring and let 9 other motherfuckers in behind you.
Yeah.
So yeah, just bring some ones. But pretend strip club rules, basically.
No, it's terrible.
Okay.
Just bring dollars.
Just bring dollars. Okay. But if you do have a car or reliable access to transportation, do definitely look at the West Bank side of the river for lodging. You will find it gets much, much cheaper.
Yes, it does.
And considering it's a Friday and it's a Saturday and a Sunday, and most of the events are over the weekend, traffic should not be that bad. It's only a 15-minute drive from pretty much anywhere on the West Bank Expressway to the convention center. And a good example of how different it is, like I said, the Conference Hotel is $178 a night. If you stay at the In-Town Suites on Manhattan, which is an extended stay location, you could book an entire week for $300.
Yeah.
Your entire stay, and then some, is less than 2 nights.
Yeah.
Similarly, there's a Travelodge in Harvey, which is right on the West Bank Expressway again. Yeah, these are not good hotels, by the way.
I would not stay at the Travelodge. I would send people to the In-Town Suites before the Travelodge.
But still, that one's $72 a night.
Yeah.
If you're willing to put up with not very nice hotels and don't care about star ratings and Yelp reviews and...
There are medium tier ones too.
Yeah, there's the Holiday Inn Tower. There's a couple others too.
There's a Courtyard that was just built too.
Yeah, no, there's
that
several.
I believe is open now.
Yeah, you can look right along the West Bank Expressway and find hotels that will suit your needs.
Also, if you don't have a car, make sure that you booked a hotel that's within walking distance.
Yeah.
Because these will say they're only a mile from the convention center, and technically they're correct.
If you're a very strong swimmer.
Exactly.
Very strong swimmer. That current's going to be a bitch.
Yeah.
Also worth noting, there is a hostel. The Atlas Hostel is $20 per night and is 1 mile from the conference.
Yeah.
I've never stayed in a hostel in my life. I know some people are big on it. Some of you young folks out there, you youngins are really big on this, so I put that in there for you.
Yeah. Well, we had a friend who worked at that one and didn't say anything too horrible about it.
No. The reviews actually are very good online. I mean, it's like 4.5 stars. So, I mean, as far as hostels go, I mean, like I said, I've never stayed at one in my life, never had calls or need, but that sounds like one I could consider.
Yeah.
All right. So now that you can get around the city some, where are you going to go? Well, the French Quarter is the obvious answer. The French Quarter is pretty much where every tourist wants to go. It's a, 16 block by 16 blocks or 12 blocks square of city where every building is hundreds and hundreds of years old pretty much.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's filled with lots of random stuff, and it is touristy as hell.
Yes, it is.
So here's a few things to be warned of. One, Bourbon Street is still under construction. We warned about this in last year's show in 105.
Right.
These sections they were working on last year are done.
Yes.
They've now moved down the street. They're now doing the next 4 or 6 blocks or whatever the hell it is. I forgot how many blocks they're doing at a time. They've torn up a different section now. The parts that are done look amazing. They look really great. They have these cool pylons that can close the street down to traffic and open it up. Nice brickwork. It looks great.
It does.
It really looks good.
Yes.
Parts that are torn to hell look like a war happened, basically.
It looks like a construction zone. I think we're all familiar with that.
Yeah. Everything's all tore to hell, basically. Bourbon Street is touristy as fuck, though. Expect everything to be really expensive. There are a few places you can get relatively cheap drinks and trinkets and whatever it is you're looking for.
Right.
And there's 1 or 2 decent places to eat on there, too, even.
Yeah.
But on the whole, things are touristy.
Yeah.
And overpriced.
Yeah. There are a couple of bars that are worth stepping into, but not a whole lot.
And we're going to mention a few of them in a minute.
Yeah.
Long story short, the French Quarter does not equal Bourbon Street.
No.
It does not, and you will often get a better experience just stepping off a few blocks.
Yeah, Bourbon Street's its own thing.
Its own thing, like David
Exactly.
Pumpkins.
Exactly.
All right. In fact, just 1 block away from it, running parallel, is Royal Street,
right?
Which is great for art galleries and little shops and little local type knick-knack places. If you're into art at all, that's where you're going to want to head, like right off the bat. Going toward the river, there's Decatur/North Peters, because Decatur kind of like forks, and one side becomes North Peters, and one side remains Decatur's, and it's all kind of part of the same area in my head.
Right.
That has a lot of smaller local bars in it, and a lot of neat little shops and restaurants. That's also where the grocer that invented the muffaletta is.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember the name of it. God damn, I didn't put it in the notes. Should have.
Yeah.
I think it's called Central Grocer. But they invented the muffaletta. It's a big deal to get a muffaletta from there. I'm not into muffalettas. I can't stand olives.
Yeah. Muffaletta is basically olive salad on bread.
If you love olives, get a muffaletta. If you don't love olives, I'd stay away from them. Yeah. It's that simple. Yeah. But there's also the French Market there, which is wonderful. Café du Monde is in the French Market, and it's probably one of the most famous places to eat in the city.
Yeah.
Local tip, though, as great as Café du Monde is, and I do so love it, if you're going to go, either go late at night.
Yes, it is 24 hours.
It is 24 hours.
You can go get beignets at 3 a.m.
Yeah, get beignets and coffee at 3 a.m. If you're going to go late at night, or be prepared to really wait. The wait is excruciating. We know people who were literally late to their wedding.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to get Café du Monde. Not an exaggeration.
No.
Another tip, though, is that Café Beignet has kind of surpassed Café du Monde in terms of what the locals think is the best beignet.
Right.
There's one in the French Market.
Yes. Café Beignet is recommended, and also Auntie's Pralines.
Yeah, they
has a praline beignet that sounds awesome to me.
We've never had it. Just sounds interesting.
Sounds freaking awesome.
And also, that's the street St. Louis Cathedral and Jackson Square run off of.
Right.
And so when you're there, you'll actually run into Jackson Square. St. Louis Cathedral's behind it.
Right.
But I consider, in my head, it's all one thing.
It is, because you can walk around the little garden area.
Yeah, the square, yeah.
Which is one of my favorite things to do, because they have local artists selling their wares there for very reasonable prices.
Yeah, Jackson Square, the inside of it is gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but it's outside and that ring around where the action is.
Yeah.
Got everything from fortune tellers to painters to voodoo doll makers to like musicians and everything. You got everything.
Yeah, and if you want your fortune told, we actually have a friend who does fortune telling.
Yeah. And we'll be happy to hook you two up. And
exactly.
I'm sure she would love the business, and she could probably do you a better rate than...
She's not going to rip you off.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Exactly. We attest this person will not try to rip you off. There you go.
Yep.
Our seal of approval.
Yeah, we're not into that thing, but if you are, we know somebody.
We know somebody. All right. So, yeah. Other things in the French Quarter to check out. The Pharmacy Museum.
Yes.
Oh my God, this museum is so awesome. It's only open Tuesday through Saturday, so it might be difficult with the HAuNTcon schedule.
Right.
It's open 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. There's a guided tour at 1 p.m. every day that's not named Saturday. And the admission is only $5, and the guided tour is included with the admission.
Yeah.
I do recommend the guided tour personally.
Yeah.
We went on it. But if you can't make the 1 o'clock, it's fine. It's still a beautiful museum with a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, and there's lots of placards and things to tell you what all the stuff is if you don't want to have it explained to you.
You don't need it. It's just nice.
Yeah, because then you can ask questions and get more history that you wouldn't get otherwise.
And the thing about it is, it's not just about like old medical practice and things.
No.
It's also New Orleans history, because they talk about the various plagues and horrors that nearly wiped out the city multiple times over.
Right.
There's also Lafitte's Blacksmith Shop on Bourbon Street in St. Philip. It's the oldest bar in the country. Mm-hmm. It ain't much to look at. Don't get me wrong. It ain't big and ornate. It's very historic.
Yes, it's very historic. I believe that's the original hearth still in it.
I think it is, yeah.
For the blacksmith.
I agree. But it's also got reasonably priced drinks, surprisingly.
It does.
It's not like the cheapest drinks in the quarter, but you would think like that kind of tourist attraction, they'd be like really ripping you off. No. They're actually pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Pirates Alley Cafe in Pirates Alley near St. Louis Cathedral. This is basically the alley that runs beside St. Louis Cathedral. If you're facing the cathedral, you're facing the cathedral, it's on the left-hand side.
Yes.
It's a little narrow alley. It looks dangerous and dark and evil because it was. It was the path they led the pirates down to Jackson Square so they could hang them.
Yes.
But there's a tiny little bar in there called Pirates Alley Cafe. Really good rum drinks, really good prices, a lot of fun hanging out at.
Yeah, I believe they are still cash only.
Yes, I think they are too.
So,
speaking of cash only, Harry's Corner at St. Charles and Dumaine, that's more in the interior of the quarter.
Right.
Great local dive bar, great drink prices, cash only.
Yeah.
This is your quintessential dive bar, and it's really out of place in the French Quarter.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the Original Dungeon at Bourbon and Toulouse. It's a goth/horror themed bar. They play a lot of industrial music. They have a dungeon theme, like everything looks dungeon-like. It opens at midnight. As in, not that it closes at midnight, is that it opens at midnight.
Yeah.
12:01 a.m. Like, it's funny because you go on to like Google's like, this bar is closed right now. It opens at 12:01 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah.
So yes, it opens at midnight. It's not particularly loved by locals. It seems to have fallen out of favor with the locals.
Yeah, we haven't been back in a while.
Yeah.
Not since they changed it.
Prices are high, but a lot of people, especially tourists, like seeing it.
Yeah.
Then there's Potions.
Yes.
Which is at Bourbon's in Orleans. Now, I'm not going to give you the details on how to get in there, because you're supposed to get that yourself. It's the secret vampire bar. You get the vampire bar, you get the passport in the exact location. It's in another bar, I'll tell you that much.
Right.
You get it from Boutique du Vampire.
Yeah.
My advice is, if you go, remember it's a $10 cover to get in. It's expensive as fuck, and you'd better really love absinthe.
Yeah, there's a lot of absinthe.
All the drinks pretty much have absinthe. I'm not an absinthe guy. I don't like that black licorice taste.
Yeah.
But to each their own.
It's a beautiful bar.
It is a very gorgeous bar. You're absolutely right about that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's quiet. It's dark. It's not too loud.
It's got a great balcony, actually.
It does, so that you can look out over the street and watch all the idiots down below.
Yeah. It's a great place.
Yeah.
So then there's Antiques.
Yes.
Covered Decatur and Governor Nichols. This one gets to the far side of the quarter from the conferences. We're getting way down Decatur.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
It's almost to the other corner of the quarter. It's like 2 blocks in from the other quarter. It's pretty close. I looked at it on the map.
Gotcha.
But this is a goth, and I know it's called Antiques. Trust me, believe me, I know what I'm saying is going to sound completely stupid.
Yeah.
But it's a goth/horror theme bar. Skeletons and Halloween shit everywhere.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun. It's off the beaten path. It's loved by locals in general.
Yeah, we like going there. Also, it is, the way that I remember the name of it, is next to one of my favorite antique shops. Well, it was one of my favorites. Yeah. They've now changed it into something new, but the last time I was in there about a month ago, they still had a wall of insects mounted into display cases.
Cool.
So insects and bats and small animals. So if you're into that sort of thing, go to Antiques, grab a drink, then go to the antique shop next door.
Yep. A lot of cool stuff. And fine dining in the French Quarter. Jesus Christ.
Go anywhere.
Tableau, Brennan's, Galatori's, Mr. B's Bistro, Antoine's Court of Two Sisters. It just goes on and on and on.
Yes, and the Court of Two Sisters is famously haunted.
Oh, yes. Famously haunted, even.
Yes. Even for New Orleans, it's famously haunted.
Okay, shopping. There's great shopping to be found everywhere. But for people going to HAuNTcon and your likely interest, we're just going to throw a few names. You can find them. I didn't check to see if these were still open. We added these to our list for last year. But there's Skull Paradise, Roadkill, Culture Vulture, that's Culture with a K, and Boutique de Vampire, which I mentioned previously, and it's still definitely around.
Yeah.
They are all really great places to go. I would avoid the quote-unquote voodoo shops in the quarter.
Yes. But we will give you the name of another voodoo shop to go to.
In a minute. They tend to be very expensive. I would also, as far as attractions in the French Quarter, I'm not particularly fond of the Death Museum.
No.
HAuNTcon did a tour of it last year. They're not doing it this year.
Right.
I wasn't very fond of it. It was expensive. It seemed tacky.
Right. And if you've listened to this podcast, you've heard our rant about the other place to get a haunted tour.
Yes.
Which is Bloody Mary's.
Flipping off the microphone, which is weird because none of the microphone's attached to me.
I know. So you're doing it wrong. But yeah, I don't agree with that tour.
No,
so.
It did not go well for me. Even without the tackiness and the tastelessness of it, I don't feel like I got my money's worth.
No.
I was disappointed.
Yeah.
Also in the French Quarter, there is the gay district, a very famous gay district.
Right.
Got some help from Ellie here in describing it, because I have trouble keeping track of what streets are the boundaries of it.
Yeah.
But basically, it's St. Anne to Dauphine and Bourbon to... okay, she says, I'll just read what she says. The easiest place to find what locals call the Fruit Loop.
Yeah.
The gay and straight communities call it the Fruit Loop. There's no other way to say it. And the quarter is St. Anne from Dauphine to Bourbon, Bourbon from St. Anne to Dumaine. Mm-hmm. So there's like a whole quarter of the quarter cut off there.
Basically, if you go down Bourbon and you see rainbow flags, then you're in the gay district.
Now, you got to go past that to get to Lafitte's blacksmith shop.
Right, which is not a gay bar.
No. But... And see, not everything inside it is a gay bar. This is where the gay bars and gay hangouts tend to cluster.
Yeah.
And there are several that are interesting. Napoleon's Itch, Bourbon Pub, which is typically more of a lesbian bar. Oz, Lafitte's in Exile. Now, this is important. Lafitte's in Exile is a gay bar.
Yes. Jean
Lafitte's blacksmith shop is the oldest bar in America and is just a bar.
Yes.
Bar.
Yes.
Be mindful of that. In fact, it got the name Lafitte's in Exile because Lafitte's was a gay hangout back when they were cracking this, like decades and decades ago, when they were cracking down on gays, they were evicted from Lafitte's, so they founded Lafitte's in exile to be the new gay hangout.
Yeah.
Just more weird New Orleans history there. Also in the area is the World War II Museum.
Yes.
I will tell you, if you're interested in doing it, it's a full day thing.
It is.
Get there as they open, and
if history is your thing, this is your museum.
Yeah, this is, according to multiple lists, one of the best museums in the world.
Yeah.
And having done it, I see why.
Yes.
It is a wonderful museum. Also, you can check out Armstrong Park, which is near the French Quarter. It's across North Rampart from it.
Yeah.
It's got a pretty sculpture garden and a few other things.
Yeah, but it's not somewhere that I think of just to go hang out.
Yeah. City Park is obviously also a big thing to see. There's a lot to do, a lot of different things to do there.
Right.
And then there's the Metairie Cemetery, 150 acres of a New Orleans-style cemetery.
Yes.
There are smaller ones in and around the French Quarter, like the St. Louis cemeteries. In fact, one of those, St. Louis one is where, Marie Laveau. I just totally brain farted.
But yeah, for that one, you do have to have a
tour guide. Yeah. So there are smaller ones if that's your thing, but the big one is Metairie Cemetery.
Right. And if you are looking for a tour guide, be sure to let us know because we know someone there, Kyle.
Yeah. And he will not rip you off. He has our seal of approval.
Yes.
All right. Other random places to check out. We got like 5 to 10 minutes left, so we can tear through this. You ready?
Yes.
If you're into karaoke, everyone talks about the Cat's Meow on Bourbon Street. Cat's Meow is a nightmare for karaoke because the list is always 300 miles long. It's expensive. It's in the touristy part. Step on out to St. Claude Ave, 2256 St. Claude, to Cajun's Pub.
You will want to drive there.
You will want to drive there, or Uber there at the very least.
Yeah.
While there, you're in the area. It's like in a 1 block radius. You've also got Siberia, Hi-Ho, and Always. At least one of those bars has a good show going on every night.
Yes, and Siberia also has food in the back.
Yes. Then you've got nearby to that, Mag's 940, which is a 940 Elysian Fields. It's a gay-friendly neighborhood bar is how its owner describes it.
Right.
Think that gets it. During Saturday and Sunday during the day, there's Princess Stephanie, our favorite bartender.
She also has added Wednesday night hours.
Okay. But if you are familiar with Dick's Last Resort and the concept of being insulted while you're being served, then you pretty much got the idea of what Princess Stephanie is. A self-described drag queen who will tear you down viscerally with her words.
Yes, and serve you yummy, yummy drinks she made herself because she is a great mixologist.
She is probably one of the best mixologists I've ever seen.
In the city, especially.
Yeah, she's amazing. So check it out. Then there's Sacred Grind's Coffee Shop at 5055 Canal. It's pretty much across the street from the mortuary.
Right.
Here you can sip coffee on the back patio while overlooking a nice New Orleans cemetery.
Yes.
It's quite a beautiful view if you're into the macabre, which who isn't?
Yeah.
Then if you're not into the macabre, you may be listening to the wrong podcast.
And coming to the wrong conference.
Indeed.
Yes, there's also a store attached to it that sells some herbs and voodoo type stuff too.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Then there's Creole Creamery at 4924 Britannia Street. Just great damn made-in-house ice cream.
Yes,
you can watch them make it. It's amazing. There is another one in Lakeview, but that one's A, further away. B, they don't make the ice cream there.
Just go to this one.
Just go to the one on Britannia, trust me.
And you can get there by streetcar.
Yes, you can. That's an easy streetcar trip.
Yeah, streetcar and then a block walk.
Yeah, exactly. And then at 2401 Burgundy, you have Hudak Coffee and Cafe. They do an amazing brunch.
Yes.
Absolutely. Big girl mimosas and...
Yes, this is mimosa and red solo cups.
Yeah, and it is crab cakes, giant crab cakes and giant corn cakes and just giant yummy
Not Your Mama's
food.
Corn cakes are so freaking awesome.
And they're so rich and so filling.
They are.
It's a neat little local meeting spot. It can get kind of crowded during brunch hours on the weekend. Mm-hmm. Maybe something to check out on a weekday.
Yeah, I believe that you can call for reservations ahead of time. I would suggest doing that.
Yeah. And that also puts you once again in the area of Mags and Cajuns, too. It puts you within blocks of those. All right, then at 2372 St. Claude Ave, the Healing Arts Center. which has several stops in it, but the main one of interest for you guys would be the voodoo/occult shop they have.
Right. Yes, they have very reasonable prices on everything, and they have local people who are in the know.
Yeah.
Who provide the things that are sold.
Yes. And finally, you may want to check out Frenchman Street. Our favorite place on Frenchman Street is Dat Dog.
Yeah.
Really good hot dogs.
They are. I miss them.
I do. But this kind of was the locals' Bourbon Street for a long time.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of music clubs on it. There's a lot of bars. There's a lot of little shops and restaurants and things. And a lot of emphasis on live music. What kind of happened, though, is it kind of got known as the locals' Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
And then the tourists came.
And it is within walking distance from the French Quarter.
Yes, exactly. So, it makes sense. Ellie did want us to remind, regarding going back to Houdat, by the way, about Haunt Widows. Yeah. The support group she operates for the spouses of haunted attraction owners and operators.
Right.
Basically, if you are interested in having some Haunt Widow time, we'll get you in touch with her. They meet, or she would be happy to meet at Houdat.
Yes.
Because that is her old stomping ground.
Yep.
Well, I think that covers everything. I mean, this is nowhere near a complete guide. This is just all I could fit in an hour with my notes.
Yeah.
So do you have anything else to add while we got a couple of minutes, but not much?
No, we don't have much. The ride down St. Charles on the streetcar to get to Creole Creamery is worth it because you will see some of the most beautiful houses on the way.
Yes. And it's just a gorgeous ride in general. The tree-lined streets, you forget you're inside a major city for almost instantly.
Yes. And all of they're just such pretty houses. They're mansions. They are not houses.
Yeah.
They're freaking castles. But
some of them actually do look like castles. You're not wrong. And they don't have phones.
No, they don't.
But yeah, it is a wonderful, wonderful streetcar ride. But yeah, there's a lot of great things to do in the city. I do hope that HauNtcon attendees do take the time to see some of this stuff and to explore the city a little more. Because even though the area around the convention center has a lot of stuff to do, and you can definitely fill your time there, don't get me wrong. Don't think you're going to be bored and have nothing to do if you don't feel like Ubering and lifting and all that. You're not. You got plenty.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot more character and charm to the rest of the city, I think.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, everyone, thank you very much for spending this past hour with us. Once again, this was Haunt Weekly at hauntweekly.com. We're Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook. tinyurl.com/hauntweekly is our YouTube channel where all previous episodes are available for easy listening. And we are also available on Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, anywhere else finer podcasts may be located. Until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And we will see you guys next week.